Hello friends. If you have ever studied computer architecture, you have probably run into two terms that both sound incredibly low-level and hardware-related. Transistor and register. They both live deep inside your computer, and at first glance it is easy to mix them up or use them interchangeably. But they are not the same thing at all. They operate at completely different levels of how a computer is built. In this video, we are going to draw a very clear line between the two. By the end, you will know exactly what each one is, how they relate to each other, and why understanding that relationship actually helps you think better about how a CPU works. Let us start right at the bottom, with the transistor. A transistor is the most fundamental electronic component in modern computing. At its core, it is a semiconductor device, meaning it is made from materials like silicon that can be tuned to either conduct electricity or block it. A transistor has three terminals. You apply a small signal at the base, and that controls whether current flows between the collector and the emitter. In computing, we use transistors as binary switches. Either current flows through, representing a 1, or it does not, representing a 0. That simple on-off behavior is the physical foundation of every logical operation your computer performs. Modern processors pack billions of these tiny switches onto a single chip, each one smaller than a virus. Now, once you can switch current on and off reliably, you can start building something more useful. That brings us to the register. A register is a tiny, ultra-fast storage location that lives directly inside the CPU. Its entire job is to hold the data the processor is actively working on right now. Not data sitting on your hard drive, not data in RAM. Data in the middle of being processed, this instant. A register is typically just a few bits or bytes wide. For example, a 4-bit register holds exactly 4 binary digits at once. When your CPU adds two numbers, it loads them into registers first, performs the operation, and stores the result back into a register. That is why registers are the fastest memory in your entire computer. They sit on the same chip as the processor itself, with no latency in between. But here is the important question. What is a register actually made of? That gets to the heart of the difference between these two terms. Here is the clearest way to think about the difference. A transistor and a register exist at completely different levels of abstraction. A transistor is a physical, electrical component. It is a real piece of semiconductor material that responds to voltage. You can touch it, measure current through it, and describe it using circuit physics. A register, on the other hand, is a logical and architectural construct. It is not a single material thing. It is a functional unit defined by what it does, which is store and quickly retrieve a binary value for the CPU. A transistor is the raw material. A register is a structure built from that material. Like bricks forming a wall, you cannot call them the same thing, even though one literally makes up the other. Next, let us see exactly how that construction works. Let us trace the actual construction path from transistor to register. It happens in distinct layers. First, you take individual transistors and wire them together in specific arrangements to create logic gates. A simple gate like a NAND gate might use just a few transistors. Then, you combine those logic gates into a circuit called a flip-flop. A flip-flop is a 1-bit memory element. It can hold a single binary value, either a 0 or a 1, and it remembers that value until you deliberately change it. Finally, you take several flip-flops and connect them side by side. 4 flip-flops give you a 4-bit register, 8 give you an 8-bit register, and so on. The full path is transistors form gates, gates form flip-flops, and flip-flops form a register. Now let us pull all of these ideas together into a clear final picture. Alright, let us bring it all together. A transistor is the most primitive building block. It is a physical semiconductor switch that turns electrical current on or off. That is all it does, but that one behavior is the foundation of everything. A register is a different kind of thing. It is a functional storage unit built directly inside the CPU, designed to hold binary data while the processor uses it. The key insight is that registers are made of transistors. Specifically, they are built from flip-flops, which are themselves built from logic gates, which are built from transistors. Same raw material, very different level of abstraction. So the real difference is not what they are made of, it is what level they operate at. One is the physical switch, the other is the logical memory. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.